Alright, hello and welcome back to Downstage Gaming. I'm your host Josh, and this is part 35 of our Let's Play of the Letter. When we last left off, Ashton, with a gun in hand, Jesus Ashton, had his own version of the housewarming party at Hannah and Luke's. He hates! I like that. And then after the party, we got back home, and we got a call here from Chief Lee, and we are off the case, Frey. Just like that. Funny why this still caught me off guard. I've discovered years ago how different the actual thing is, how far from reality everything I believed in as a dreamy-eyed kid. There are no high-speed pursuits every day, no thrilling gunfights or exciting cases every step of the way. Only paperwork, lots of red tape, and dealing with the politics and bureaucracy. I've set out to change things, hoping it'll make things better for the people I care about. It ended up changing me instead. Serves me right for being too idealistic, I guess. This is probably the universe telling me that it's better to remain the skeptic I really am. Now, here I am, standing useless. Can't even do anything but grit my teeth and kick the wall. The bastard didn't even acknowledge my response.
What did the poor wall ever do to you?
It figures Rebecca would be the one to find me in this embarrassing state. Honestly, I don't like it when she sees me like this, which seems to happen a lot, regardless of what I want.
Rebecca, now's not a good time.
The concern I expect from her when I turn isn't there, however. Instead, she just looks, well, pissed. The storm I left brewing last night, it's right there on her face, ready to be unleashed.
When is it ever a good time for you? You're always so busy with everything now.
And I mean, you know, given that today is really like her last day on this earth, I really feel like you could give it to her. Am I right about that? I called Rebecca again. Nope, that's okay. Alright, she has one more day.
Now I find you here, sneaking out without even bothering with a proper goodbye. Not even a word. Really, I'm starting to think you're just keeping me around for my couch and my cooking.
It's a really comfy couch.
Becca, it's not what you're thinking. I wasn't planning on sneaking out. I was going to say goodbye. I just had to take this call. Although, I'm not gonna lie, couch is great. 10 out of 10. Wouldn't sleep again.
Alright, Ashton, you're not so bad after all.
Stop it with the jokes, Ashton. I'm not in the mood.
Her bitterness is not lost on me, but at this point in our friendship and our lives, how does she still expect me to answer that? What am I supposed to tell her now?
Are you still mad about last night?
She merely raises an eyebrow at me, which, to be honest, is all the response I needed. I mean, of course she is. Seeing her like this makes me believe those things Z-Man says, the part where Rebecca scares him sometimes. I've certainly seen this more than once already, but the familiarity of it doesn't really take away from the downhill turn this conversation's starting to take. Only an awkward cough serves as a way to stall.
Okay, of course you're still mad. But whatever happened last night, I really am sorry. I'll apologize as many times as you want.
You don't even know what it is she's mad about, so like,
If you
this
want,
apology
I can
means
be Neil or
nothing.
something.
Ashton, an apology is nice and all, but that's not what I wanted to hear from you today.
Alright, fine, okay. Where do you want to start?
A love confession would be a nice start.
Oh, I don't know. I've honestly lost track of it by your third trip to the buffet table.
Well, you know, the man's allowed to eat, Becca.
I wasn't... The drive up there took a bit. Can you blame me if I wanted to grab some appetizers?
Oh, come on, Ash. For the whole evening? For the whole party? Please don't tell me that's all you did, because I've never known you as someone who pigs out.
That's not the man I fell in love with.
You even took great lengths to avoid me. Should I also mention how you ignored Zach? Sometimes I get the feeling you don't want to be seen with us in public. Some friendship, huh?
You know it's not like that. It's never going to be like that, Becca.
I'll ask this again. Just what were you up to during the party? What were you doing that you couldn't even take 2 seconds to
I mean,
make time for
he
your
was about to
friends?
answer that, I think, Becca, if you had let him continue. I couldn't even look her in the eye. It wasn't that I wanted to avoid them. I did it to keep Zach safe, to keep Rebecca safe. Just in case. Client or family friend, it was still a party hosted by a person of interest, by a man accused years ago of murdering a person's wife to get what he wanted. But then Chief showed up, Hannah Wright happened, and Luke Wright just can't be bothered to die peacefully somewhere. All of a sudden, none of my original reasons mattered. If I was found out right then and there, hell, if Zach and Rebecca's connection with me was found out, who knows what might have happened. But Rebecca doesn't understand that, doesn't understand what I can and can't say to keep them from harm. I think if you told her, I think she'd understand. It's all in her eyes, and the tight line of her lips, and her furrowed brows. The hurt. This day is just off to a wonderful start. First my case, now Becca. How do I even go about this? Boy, both of these are bad options. I feel like insisting it's confidential is obviously more honest, but I feel like Becca's gonna hate that. If stretching the truth means we're going to tell most of the truth, or at least part of the truth, I think that's better than insisting it's confidential. But stretch the truth also just kind of means lying, doesn't it? Oh! Oh, stretch the truth. I think she's gonna hate both of these. If I knew exactly what this meant, if I knew that this exactly meant 100% this is a lie, or if it meant tell part of the truth but then like exaggerate some parts or not the whole thing, or stretching the truth. No! Well, whatever. You're gonna be dead tomorrow. Obviously, I couldn't just say, "Hey, Becca, you know the rights? They're suspected to be ringleaders of a crime syndicate," shit like that. Protocol or otherwise, there are so many things I'm not allowed to tell the others. Even if I am able to share information with civilians, knowing anything could very well put them in danger. It's why I keep it vague, obscure the facts, or when push comes to shove, stretch the truth and lie through my teeth. It's a necessity I've grown to deal with. It has already become a part of me, no matter how much I loathe doing it.
I mentioned it, didn't I? I was there on behalf of someone else. I was on business, Becca. I wasn't there to have a good time.
She doesn't look convinced, at all. Although she's the very picture of someone who's at least willing to listen, her glare effectively takes a good 20 off my current years. I feel like a kid again, being reprimanded by my junior high teacher for sleeping in class. But getting away with that is easier than with this one. It's the thing with someone you've been friends with for so long. They're the ones who know you inside out. Good grades wouldn't be enough for Rebecca to let this whole thing slide.
You couldn't even spare a single second to mingle.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good lie, was it, Ash?
What was I supposed to say? Hi, fancy meeting you here. Would you like to dance? By the way, those appetizers were really good. You should try some. Like that? I've got a boss guy breathing down my neck. I don't exactly have the luxury of doing as I please.
This much is true. My reasons for being at the party, too. However, Chief's presence last night made a lot of things difficult. Approaching them was out of the question when there was someone watching, a person who knew the reason why I was there. Turned out to be a good call on my part. But for someone who's already angry beyond reason, everything will only sound like an excuse.
Cut the shite. I saw you stuffing your face with the deviled eggs, while your own boss is off on the other side of the room. You didn't even exchange a word or a glance with him either. In fact, I think you're also avoiding the man. Just say you don't want to talk about it instead of lying to my face.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I really thought that this would be better. I do feel guilty still. We've already been down this road. This is something I've done so repeatedly in the past, something she's heard from me more times than all my fingers can count. Something I'll just have to get over with at this moment.
I'm sorry, you know that, Becca. I really am. I wouldn't do this shit if I didn't have a good reason to.
And you know that I don't like you lying to me. If you can't tell the truth, just don't say anything and shut your gob. I swear, Ashton Frey, you are just so dense. I'm so angry. I can't even bear to look at you right now because I swear I'll knock you right off your block. I mean, what good reason could you have to act like an antisocial asshole? The only time you did talk to me was to spout some vague nonsense about Luke. What was that all about? Were you somehow expecting me to just accept everything as it is?
You really shouldn't go near that man, Becca.
Man, we really blew it, huh?
Why? Because you don't trust him? I wonder if you actually trust anyone.
I trust your friend that I'm in love with. Whoops. Oh, that made things worse.
Aside from the three of us, Zach, Isabella, and myself, do you even have any other friends?
Well, okay. Do you, Becca? You jerk.
If you're perfectly fine with that, then go ahead. No one is stopping you. But don't expect me to share the same views. I can have a life of my own. Friends that I don't necessarily share with you. I'm an adult, Ashton, and I can make my own bloody decisions. I sure as hell can choose the people I want to let into my life.
Of course, she's allowed to do as she pleases, and never mentioned she couldn't. Us growing up together doesn't mean it always has to be just the two of us. It's a dumb idea to believe in, when nothing ever remains constant. Things will inevitably change through the years. She'll make friends with people outside of our little circle. I'm just as free to form relationships with other people. But why of all people did it have to be him? Why does it have to be Luke Wright? That guy is nothing but trouble. How can she defend a guy like that? She's already calling him Luke, for Pete's sake.
I trust Zach, I trust Isabella, and I trust you, Rebecca. So why can't you trust me on this? You need to stay away from that man. Because he's... I really wish I could tell you.
What was that saying Isabella mentioned before? A liar is a brother of a thief? People who look me now will probably say I'm a hair's breadth away from being a criminal. Z-Man said something like that once, a few years into our friendship. I laughed it off back then, but now? They're probably right. Little by little, I'm becoming the very kind of person I hate. How ironic. The silence afterwards brings an even heavier air between us. Something that Rebecca, thankfully, doesn't allow to linger more than necessary.
I suppose you have to go now, huh?
Situation's already awkward as it is. Dragging this out will only make it more... what? Difficult? Messed up? As if it isn't already.
Back to your case again?
I don't really have to. I have no case. As far as the job is concerned. But that's the thing, too, is like, I mean, okay, there probably is still some legal things about how we can't talk about, like, you know, investigative business or police business, but it feels like now that he's off the job, that he's been essentially fired, like, he could probably afford a little more, like, hey, so here's a little bit of what I know. As far as the job's concerned, I have the weekend off until I have to report to Chief on Monday. Although I don't want to just throw in the towel on this, orders are orders. This is like the movies. I don't get to say fuck off, throw my gun and badge at him, become some vigilante, save the day, and get my job back. I don't know. Sounds pretty good to me. I'd rather get my ass thrown in jail than do any of that. But it's also not in my nature to sit still and do nothing. It would drive me crazy if I just idle about. So it sounds like we're going vigilante justice then. Besides, there's someone who has to know about this whole Luke Wright thing.
Yeah, I need to go talk to Professor Clark. And there's something else I need to look into.
That other matter she mentioned last night specifically. Things even the news have been blasting out to the general populace lately. Evening, afternoon, morning, all deaths with the same modus blamed on a single serial killer. Or is it still the case?
In the early hours of the morning today. The fire was contained within the room and no other tenants were harmed, according to Luxon police.
We're grasping at straws as far as these murders are concerned. In the first place, I'm not even the one heading this investigation, yet look at me treating it as if it's another high-profile case on my shoulder. How sad is that? Although all three of my friends have mentioned seeing something strange, I don't want to go into that line of thinking for now. Not yet. Not until I've exhausted every logical argument I could throw at it. To be honest, though, I don't know how to take all of this anymore. But I've already given Isabella my word. It'd bother me more if I didn't follow up on a promise I made to her. After Rebecca's claims last night, there won't be enough sarcasm in the world if what my friends have been telling me is true. I can already hear Isabella's laughter, in fact.
Figures. What else can it be?
It's not another case. It's something else. That issue Isabella mentioned yesterday morning. I'm sure you remember. You were there.
Well, at least you're not neglecting all your friends.
Just the one I'm jealous of. Well, or just me, really.
Becca, I promised her I'll...
She doesn't wait for me to finish. With a roll of her eye, she turns around and shuts the door in my face. I have no idea what I've said this time, but...
Probably deserve that.
You know, it probably is almost certainly because the choices I've made between these two have generally been bad, or I've, like, with Becca, like, actively missed out on chances to hang out with Astrid. But, like, really have not, up until this point, seen, like, the positive part of their relationship. Like, I see very little of the, like, oh, we've been best friends for 20 years or whatever. Alright, let's take a look at what picture we got here. Aww. Not having it. We'll just have to fix this some other time. By then, her temper's sure to have cooled off significantly. Hopefully. Then I'm still here. For now, I can't laze around. Gotta attend to things that matter more. Professor Clark first, deliver the bad news, then that issue with BRC and Isabella. Maybe I'll also drop by Zach's, check on him, hear what he has to say. He has also read that damn letter. Might as well while I'm here, playing a paranormal detective, or was it supernatural? I can't remember. Whatever, wouldn't hurt anyone if I tried to get to the bottom of this. Nothing comes out of this? Good. Everyone can shut up about stupid curses and we can finally get back on track with our lives. On to more important stuff. If there is something...
Are you two done?
There's a moment of confusion when I don't see her familiar ponytail about, only to find her standing behind the door to her apartment seconds later. Isabella holds it open, though only slightly, as if to hide it from anyone who might happen to pass by. This early and on a lazy weekend, I doubt anyone would. But from the gap and what little light there is behind her, I can make out the appearance of someone who has just clearly gotten off from bed. Hair in complete disarray, eyes still heavy with sleep, and a small pout on her lips. She hasn't even gotten out of her... pajamas? What's with the ellipses there, Ashton? I look away long before my sense of decorum kicks in. I mean, what? What is this, like sexy lingerie? What's the problem here? I feel like Isabella is not the type. We might be friends. I'll even dare say we've grown closer over the years, but that doesn't extend beyond the bounds of propriety. Christ, even Rebecca never greets early visitors in her sleep. What is this puritanical nonsense? Though maybe it's our fault why she's up this early. Still, heat makes a slow crawl up my neck, one that I quickly downplay with a solid cough. You're a big cough to get out of awkward situations kind of guy, aren't you? And I don't think it works.
Isabella, you're up early.
Lame.
No, I'm not. I'm usually up at this hour.
Dork.
You're the one that usually sucks at getting up early.
Nerd.
Says the person who looks like she's just fallen out of bed.
Instead of the usual quip, she simply averts her gaze to some point beside her, and although it only flashes briefly across her face, an expression of hurt flickers in her eyes. It disappears the second she turns her attention back to me, but that moment has sent a worried twinge in my stomach. I've seen it on her plenty of times before, just never in a manner that unsettles. It feels, I don't know, off this time? I didn't say anything wrong, did I?
Hey, are you...
Anyway, was that Becca with you? You both sound like Mama and Papa when they fight. You're awfully loud. If we get another memo from the landlady, I'm asking the guard to ban you from ever entering this place.
Me? Becca's the one almost shouting.
Yeah, well, she lives here. You don't.
Fair.
You have no excuse. You're the suspicious-looking person.
Thanks. Glad at least one person appreciates how I pretty up this place.
Don't flatter yourself. This place would be so much better without having to see your face every few days.
Once again, it's just been so long since I've really had any interaction with Isabella. Every scene is better when Isabella's in it. She follows it up with another pout. But her ruffled appearance, particularly how puffy her eyes are, I noticed just now, takes away from the intimidating effect she's trying to show. Really, right now, she just looks more like an angry puppy. I might have laughed had it not given me another nagging sense that something is definitely wrong with her. What, has she been crying earlier? That is worrying. She rarely does that. The only time it happened, the one time I've ever seen her genuinely tear up over something, I think it was after Devlin Court, the night at the bridge. I want to ask. She seems determined to keep it to herself, though.
Belle, did something...
About yesterday, Ash. The things we talked about. Do you think we can take a look at it today?
Hell yeah.
I never said you're coming with me.
No, Ashton.
Don't worry. I didn't forget about it. You'll be the first to know if I find
Pretty
anything.
Isabella, what are you doing?
No, I want to go with you. I'll be ready in a few. This won't take long.
Isabella, you really don't have to. I can handle it on my own. You'll just...
I won't get in the way, I promise. Besides, maybe I can help.
Yeah.
No, if there are files you want to check.
If you need me to let you into BRCs so we can burn it to the ground. I don't like what she's implying. It's true LPD is having a hard time with this, but taking Isabella with me, it's out of the question. Under normal circumstances.
You're the one who's going to get in trouble if you do that.
You said it yourself. You need information, and I can help you get that. And And it's not like it matters anymore. I just don't want to stand around doing nothing today.
There it is again. The slight shift in her eyes, the mild crease forming between her eyebrows, and the mild slump in her shoulders while she crosses her arms tightly around herself, like she's shielding herself from whatever painful thing there is out there. I have plenty of reasons why I shouldn't let her tag along. First and foremost, she's a civilian. Second, I have no concrete plan of action yet. I'm going into this blind. No matter how I look at it, it's simply better for her to just wait so she won't get dragged into what might be another one of my failures. Her assumptions might be a dead end for all we know. But seeing that expression on her, hearing her speak those words out loud in a desperate, almost pleading tone, I can't bring myself to say no. So I give in, because right there, I see myself in her. The person who doesn't want to stay idle, who doesn't want to think of the problems haunting him.
All right, 5 minutes.
What? You're timing me?
Well, I can't wait forever. I'm a very busy guy. 4 minutes and 45 seconds, Isabella.
I hate you so much.
Aww.
I'm taking back what I said last week. You haven't changed at all.
Aww, you were
4
so
minutes and 30
cute.
seconds. 29, 28. I'd hurry if I were you.
Ugh, you're awful. I hope you never get a girlfriend.
See, who, I mean, again, I probably missed a bunch of stuff that could be really cute, but, like, who would want Ashton and Becca to get together when there's this? She slams the door right after, although my chuckles, the mirth and the lightness in it, linger. With her, those have always come easy somehow, even as its echoes fade, and only the ghost of a smile remains.
It's not like I'm looking for anyone else.
Oh, show me something cute. Show me a cute picture. Ah, this is exactly what I was imagining. Like the, like just like almost like children's-esque pajamas with little sheep on them, and Ashton's like, "Oh well, how untoward of me to see a woman in her pajamas." I want to tell her. It's not because I can't. I won't. I'm the one who has chosen not to, until I fixed myself, until I found myself underneath all that guilt those lies I've been telling all these years. Because no matter how heavy the weight of these feelings are, I'm not yet worthy of them. Of her. Until then, little words and gestures are the only things I can offer. Minor stuff, such as digging deeper into this thing with BRC in order to ease her worries. Not even sure if this will give us anything. Unlike with the firm case, which I already have proper leads on, I'm just going by her word on this. Speaking of the Luxburn firm case, I still have to inform the professor. The apprehension's there for sure. Made a lot of promises to the man, and would have preferred to tell him in person, not over the phone. But it's better for him to hear it from me rather than a stranger. The railings offer a steady support while I wait for him to answer. I'd like to think I can do this without losing my nerve. My grip on the bar surely tightens, though, once the call connects.
Ashton. Not running today, Professor?
He's usually at the park on late Saturday mornings, as long as it isn't raining cats and dogs. You'd know his whole schedule? Keeps him young and healthy, he says, and he's certainly fit for a man of his age with a sedentary job.
Oh, no, not today.
He's definitely at the usual place, though. Cheers and laughter, likely from children and families, filter through the receiver. I tend to avoid the park precisely because of this. I hate children. No use reminding myself of the could-haves when it's already over. Mom's doing well with her career. Dad's also fine the last time I visited. Though neither remarry, they're both content with their lives as it is. I'm probably the only one still caught up with it, hence my aversion. But all in all, still a pleasant sight to see, if you're the kind who takes joy in such sights like Professor Clark does.
Just thought I'd enjoy the nice weather before it takes a turn for the norm again. And to what do I owe the pleasure?
He has such a weird voice. The guy certainly seems happy right now. In any case, I almost don't want to break the news to him. But it's better to get this off quick, as long as he doesn't shoot the messenger. He's not the type, however long-held resentment can change a person, even someone as mild-mannered as the professor.
I was hoping to talk to you about the case.
I would love to know what it is that Luke Wright did to the professor. I suppose I'm just the downer today. As soon as I say those words, he pauses, and the lightness in his voice is gone in an instant. Every time we've talked about this in the past, he does that. He's probably trying to gauge the situation based on the tone of my voice. Perhaps it's a good thing I'm delivering this news through the phone. Who knows what he'll see in my face and my mannerisms. The art of keen observation? I learned it from the man. He probably already has an idea what this might be about from my manner of speaking alone.
You aren't in trouble, are you?
For a second, I hesitate, looking at the dirt beneath my shoes. Define trouble, but I manage eventually after a long, ragged draw of breath. I pick up where I've left off, though still fumbling with my words.
Well, I'm in a bit of trouble, if you can call it that.
Ashton,
He only assumes that tone when there's a reprimand at its heels.
But I'm not in danger or anything.
you've said that same excuse a million times before, Detective Inspector.
I hate that he calls him Detective
That
Inspector.
exhausted rasp in your voice tells a different story.
It's nothing like what you're thinking. Don't worry. I was taken off the Luxborn firm case.
I was told to turn in my badge and gun. I expect anger, frustration, maybe even disappointment, but all he gives me is a small sigh of relief.
Is that so? Well, at least you aren't in danger. Liz wouldn't be too happy if she heard you right now.
Liz. Aunt Liz, she insisted I call her, his late wife. A sweet-tempered woman by so many standards. They were never blessed with kids and contented herself with simply managing their bakery. But she's the closest I had to a mom in the few years I had known her. The professor, too. The professor was also my mom. In the absence of my own parents in my life, the two filled the ache of their divorce left in me.
Believe me, you'd get an earful. You don't want to show up on her doorstep looking like you haven't slept a wink either.
How many years has it been since? 9? 10? Can still remember it vividly. Two men, primly dressed, briefcases in hand, and a stern look on each of their faces. They were already frequent visitors to the bakery for a few months. Something about the lot being a prime property in downtown Luxborn. I think they were hoping to settle a deal with them, but neither of the couple gave in to their demands. Why should they? That quaint little shop was a dream for them. Aunt Liz sent me home early that night after a fruitless wait for the professor. The next morning, news of a bakery razed to the ground had spread across the whole city. One casualty. A few weeks later, the property was sold to Wright Enterprise. Ah, I see. A fucking hotel now stands in its place. Of course, an investigation was launched after the incident. The name Luke Wright was briefly at the center of it, but with the lack of any evidence, the case ultimately went cold. The professor hides it well, however I can tell that he hates that man to this day. Might even blame Luke Wright for every tragedy that happens in the city. He has never blamed me, though, when I'm equally responsible. I knew something's off the moment those men stepped inside the shop. I could have saved her that night. I could have prevented anything from happening to her, called for help, whatever. I didn't. So it continues to eat at me until today. The guilt. The Luxborn firm case would have been our chance of reopening that old case if we could prove Luke Wright of his crimes. Instead, we're back to square one. Yet, all he is for me are words of comfort. To think he can still be this concerned about me after my carelessness, after I've broken another promise for a second time. People never cease to amaze me.
You might think that you have failed as an officer. Or maybe you think that you have failed me.
And you're right. Never call this number again.
And you know more than anyone. I would love to see that man taken down. If anyone deserves to be tried in high court, it's him. But I'm glad nothing's happened to you while you were working on this. That's what's most important. I'd hate to get news like that again.
Suddenly, he stops. I imagine a thoughtful look flashing in his eyes as he thumbs the wedding band on his ring finger before he continues. Another habit. He has never removed it since that day. Has never thought once to remarry, even when he managed to continue with his life and return to some semblance of normalcy. It's his way of honoring her, I suppose, when he couldn't bring justice to the man responsible for his loss. Some people are just hard to forget.
It's not like another death. Yours or even his will bring back my wife.
Silence falls between us afterwards. Don't quite know what to say after that, really. Should I apologize? Show some sympathy? Going into this, I should have thought of something other than just breaking the news to him. As it is, it seems the only thing we can do is feel sorry for each other's
I
misfortunes.
apologize too for putting you up to this.
On another occasion, under different circumstances, I might have accepted that, but
You didn't have to, but you've already done more than any officer who has investigated this. So don't worry about this, old man. I know your department's people all have their hands full recently too. What with the upsetting news we've been getting as of late. Deaths almost every day.
like one every 7 seconds or something.
I'm not entirely sure if that has anything to do with the other. It seems too big even for someone like him. But if this is that man's doing,
Professor, please.
Maybe if things around me hadn't started going beyond my control, the letter, the mansion, the supposed curse behind those, I'd still be quick to blame it all on the bastard too. But as much as I want to keep holding him responsible for it, to add another to his list of sins, it might not be the case. Agreeing will only cut a deeper wound than the professor. I don't want him to keep clinging to this resentment for much longer. He has already gone through so many years of it. This kind of anger is the sort that blinds people. Despite his reassurances, the bitterness still seeps into every syllable he utters. It's one thing for me to act like this. It's painful to watch someone I've considered a second father to go down this path.
Please don't apologize. It's really alright. I can try to get it back on Monday when I meet with the chief. No promises, but if not, I'll make sure to keep an ear out for any news. Chief said he's passing it on to a senior officer. I should be able to catch a few tidbits every once in a while, but I swear I won't just give up on this. I'll do everything in my power to get Aunt Liz's case reopened for you.
Promises. Again, a bad habit at this point. I wish I could do more for him. All this time I prided myself over being the one to always know. Because suddenly, aside from Wright and the murders plaguing the city, I have ghosts and curses to worry about. Things that are completely out of my depth. Professor Clark's right in some way. Things would be so much easier if we just blamed Luke Wright for all of this. I mean, personally in my life, I've been blaming Luke Wright for pretty much everything that's gone wrong in the world. At least finding evidence would be a breeze, and I'd be all too happy to put him in a place he belongs. Although, if he was, in any way, also complicit to what's happening, legalities have my hands tied. But maybe that's my fault. I might have missed the ticket to closing the case once and for all last night. If only I'd done a better job during the party. If only I'd just eaten a few more hors d'oeuvres, this all could have been different. But then, the commotion. There was Hannah Wright and Rebecca distracting me from my purpose too. I'd include that gate crasher as well, even though it was only for a moment. So many things have gone wrong last night that...
This isn't a prank! I saw something! See? This is why I didn't want to tell you guys. It's not a joke. Will you guys listen to me first? I saw something in the house earlier. It stood right in front of me. If I hadn't gotten away, that thing might have...
Last night, at the party.
But it's real! What do you think I saw? It happened after, when I was trying to get away. I almost got stuck in the same room with that thing. We're all in danger. I thought you were my friends. Why don't you believe me?
That woman.
Why don't we all calm down first? I'm sure Isabella has her reasons too. No need to be hard on her.
Shit. If that was what Isabella had been warning us about, it was the same thing Rebecca talked about last night. How many of these instances have I dismissed since reading the letter? How many have I ignored and passed off as some effect of fatigue or lack of sleep? Even last night, a hallucinogen lacing the food is the first thing I considered, purely because that's what my training dictates. It's a mindset I've grown used to. It's the setting the gears in my head automatically takes in a situation like that. Of course, I'm not discounting all of that, yet until I have enough information, something to form a conclusion from. Proof, in whatever form it may come. But thinking straight is impossible when, all of a sudden, all your beliefs are being upturned in the most violent way possible at that. Jesus, I need a sounding board. I need someone to talk to, and Zach's the best person for that.
I have to go, Professor.
oh, no problem. But what are you...
Shut up. No time. Can't even say goodbye. I don't have time to stop and listen to whatever the professor has to say, so I hang up on him. In the same second, Isabella emerges from her apartment, fully dressed and ready for the day. Well, thank God. If I had to see her in those pajamas again, I don't know what I would do. As usual, she greets me with a smile, but it falls just as fast once she catches a glimpse of my face. Shame. That would have been the first comforting thing I see today. It annoys me that I'm partially responsible for the worried one replacing it. I must look close to a picture of someone choking or dying, because there's nothing but concern in the first words she speaks.
Ash, are you... Do you need to go to the bathroom?
Isabella, you are a fool.
Yeah, no, I don't, okay? But we should hurry. Come on, don't forget to lock your door.
My bladder is full, Isabella.
Seriously, You look like you're about to fall over. Are you all right? Because if you're planning to faint right here, I won't be able to carry you.
Yes, don't mind me. I just remembered some stuff from last
Tell
night.
her
I
the
need to talk to
truth.
Z-Man about this. Mind if we drop by his place first?
Shouldn't we call him to let him know? It's still pretty early.
Oh no,
Though we
I just
probably
kick down
arrive
his
there
door
around
pretty
noon.
much any time I want.
Also, what do you mean about this? Is Zach?
He was also there when I opened the letter, right? He read it too. I'm sure he's fine, but it wouldn't hurt to check on him. To make sure. See if he'll say the same things you told me yesterday.
We'll find out. He's also been seeing things if it's also the same woman I saw last night.
I'm not saying there's really a curse yet, but we have to look at this from every possible angle. And don't worry, he won't mind. He's probably just watching TV right now. Let's go.
Okay, but speak up if you're not feeling well. You really look like you're choking on something. You didn't have to do this. to me
Choking
in
on the
first
painful
place.
emotions that I'm dealing
You
with,
know it's not
Isabella.
as simple as that.
We head down to my car in record time with not a single second wasted to hit the road and drive to Zach's place. If any one of us, other than Isabella, who knows anything about what's going on, who can help sort the muddled mess my mind is, it's gotta be him. He listened to her. Alright, well, we will have to check in with Zach and get this new investigation really going next time. Until then, this has been Downstage Gaming. I've been your host, Josh, and I will see you all next time.